Look, it is Friday, April 19th. It is Passover. It is Good Friday, Easter weekend. The world of music journalism is shut down and dead right now. There is literally nothing happening in the world. Everybody's off going to do their family thing. So I thought this would be a good opportunity now that we're a week away from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Induction ceremony airing on HBO. We were there. We have some amazing coverage. It's up at wehm.com. Some great behind the scenes stuff. David Byrne, Questlove, Robert Smith of The Cure. Joe Show and I were there. We had an awesome time. We did a Facebook Live. You can watch that there. We did a lot of cool stuff. We got a lot of stuff from it, too. Some of the Stevie Nicks stuff, some of the Duran Duran, WLIR stuff. It was kind of cool. We'll put links up. And again, you can go check it out. It's on the homepage at wehm.com. But we're a week away from the HBO airing the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And I'll have some more thoughts on that once it airs because, being there in the room and seeing it unedited, I'll be able to let you know what was kind of left out and what wasn't. So, and I would imagine being there that there were definitely some things that they were going to leave out, some things that got kind of messed up. I'm really curious to see David Byrne's speech because he... I don't know if he was nervous or what, but he was not really rambling, but very choppy. I'll be curious to see how they wind up cutting that all together to make it flow better. But with all that in mind, and with no music news out there, I thought we'd take a look at the 2020 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame class, which is, some fun thing that Ultimate Classic Rock and a couple of other outlets have been speculating about. So I thought, well, let's throw our little hat in the ring here and take a look at some of the people that are going to be eligible for the first time and some of the people who have been eligible for quite a while. With the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, you have to be 25 years since your first album was released. So we're getting up to a time where it's 2019, 1994. Again, I feel like there were several times in music that were massively epic. And that 92 to 94 era, grunge and Nirvana and all that stuff, I feel like that was an incredible, incredible time for music. 64 in the Beatles, I would argue 70 in the transition from the 60s into the 70s. 70 was a huge year with Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young and the Beatles breaking up. And, so there were certain years you can really point to. But as far as like, oh my God, look at what's happening in the world of music and culture, 90s was that time. So we're 25 years removed from that now, and we're starting to see those influences come back up again. Oasis will be eligible for induction for the first time this year. It'll be interesting to see if they get the first-timers treatment. Radiohead didn't get it, right? I think they got it in the second time. This past year they got inducted. That was the second year that they were eligible. But Nirvana went in first year, obviously very deserving. Pearl Jam went in first year, obviously very deserving. I'm wondering if Oasis has that same sort of cachet to them that they'll get the first-timers treatment. I would argue that they do, but I don't get to make the final decision on that. But I think from the time of Definitely Maybe on, they have definitely been one of those iconic bands and are definitely worthy of induction. Weezer is also in that same vein. The self-titled Blue album, I think, was 94. So they're going to be in that same category. Does Weezer get the first-time treatment? Weezer not as culturally influential as Nirvana or Pearl Jam. Doesn't have the staying power, don't have the sales, don't have the, touring sales. But right up there. When you think about it. I mean, who's not rocking the Sweater Song even today? And then you go and you look at all their recent accomplishments with the covers and everything else, their sort of resurgence. I wonder. But much like the SNL skit involved with Weezer, they do have I feel like the Weezer fans themselves are split. So I wonder how the music community as a whole will treat them. So Weezer's an interesting one. Korn is eligible for first-time induction. I tell you who I think will be an absolute slam dunk first-timer immediately going in next year, 2020 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and you can yell and scream at me all you want, but the Notorious B.I.G. I think he goes in without a doubt Ready to Die, 94, phenomenal record. It's one of my favorites. Full disclosure, he is my favorite hip-hop artist. I'm not a big, huge fan of hip-hop. I do love it. I do think he was the best in the game. I do think he was the absolute best. But even sort of putting my own, feelings on him aside, Tupac Shakur went right in the first year that he was eligible, and I think Biggie gets the same exact treatment. I mean, their credentials are right there with each other, aside from the fact that they had the East Coast, West Coast thing. As far as their contribution to music, they're both right up there. Tupac a little bit more maybe because he had the earlier start, which is why he went in 17. But Biggie certainly deserving, and I think he'll make it there come 2020. Taking a look at some of the acts that are eligible in years past, we could argue on and on about some of these. I think some are more egregious than others, but you have Foreigner, who have been eligible since 2002, Iron Maiden since 2004. The Doobie Brothers are not in there. They have more than 48 million albums sold worldwide. They've been eligible since 1996. Motorhead have been in there. A lot of people argue the metal representation in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, not that great. Judas Priest has been eligible since 99. This is an interesting one for me, and they've been eligible since 2014, but Nine Inch Nails. I don't know if Nine Inch Nails makes it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And to me, the more interesting conversation with this is, does Trent Reznor go in before actually Nine Inch Nails goes in? Because although Nine Inch Nails launched his career, you take a look at what Trent has done solo-wise, and especially in scoring films, he is maybe one of the best film composers we have right now. I mean, whenever I see that he's doing a film, I get instantly excited. Social Network was a triumph, and everything else he has touched has been so damn good. And Trent was there at this year's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony as one of the people doing the inducting. So that'll be interesting to see if he gets the nod there. Obviously, I don't know when his first solo record was released, so that's going to be a little bit of a different thing. But I could see that more being in the vein of like, an achievement award or one of the other awards that they give out there at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony. King Crimson's been eligible since 94. Todd Rundgren has been eligible since 95. And the thing that EHM listeners get on me for most of all when I talk about Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, not that it's my fault, but the thing they screw about the most is Warren Zevon. Zevon's been eligible since 1994. So we are celebrating not only 25 years since one of the great time periods of music, we're celebrating 25 years of the first time that Warren Zevon was eligible to go into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm not sure if he ever will get there. Ultimate Classic Rock also points out that Weird Al Yankovic is eligible and has been since 2004. Although he has many fans, one of them. I can't say I listen to Weird Al stuff all the time, but I do get a chuckle out of some of his stuff. I think he gets there one day, but I think it'll be a long time. And see, the problem is you do, when you look at Foreigner and Warren Zevon and Todd Rundgren, you kind of run into this little crunch here. You do run into this crunch where there was such amazing music that exploded late 80s, early 90s, that some of the artists that are coming up eligible within that sort of 85 to 2005 time frame, they're gonna get squeezed out of the way because of some of those other acts. Oasis, Weezer could want, like, you could be like, yeah, this is the year for Foreigner, but Oasis and Weezer kind of squeezed them out, that kind of a situation. So it'll be interesting to see what transpires here moving forward. But that's just a little look at what could be of next year's 2020 class of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Again, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony from 2019 will air on HBO coming up on April 27th. Details and info on that and our behind-the-stage access is available at wehm.com.